Hi, Thomas from Field Tennis. Welcome to another installment of the It Depends video series, where we look at seemingly conflicting tennis instruction and try and make sense of it. Today we're going to cover open stance forehand versus closed or neutral stance, or in other words, should you stay open or should you step into the ball? The answer, of course, is it depends. Let's start with the open stance forehand. Open stance forehand is really good for handling fast balls, for dealing with high balls, or when you have to move to the side. So let's see. This is a fast one. This is a high one. And this is moving to the side. So that's when open stance forehand is really good. It also gives us a little bit more power, because we coil our body and we create a lot of torque in the body, and that generates more power, but it's not so accurate. Open stance forehand. Why should we use an open stance forehand? First of all, open stance forehand gives us more power. And you can test that simply like this if you just position yourself like this. So just stand with your feet parallel and then turn your upper body 90 degrees away into this position, and then try and feel if you load your leg a little bit like this and try and rotate. So just load your leg and rotate back to your left. So stay in this position a little bit. So just feel that there is some torque in your body because the upper body is turned more than the lower body. So now your core muscles are twisted, there's a certain torque in your body. And now in this position, just step forward into a neutral stance. And you can go back and forth a few times like this. And you will see that when you step forward, the torque is gone. Why? Because my hips and my shoulders are now in the same line. So there's no more tension between them. When I step here, I've created a certain tension, certain torque in my body, certain coiling effect, and I can use these muscles now to pull back. Because these muscles are stretched a little bit, I can now pull back, and I have much more power than if I stay like this. Here I don't have power, I have more just weight transfer into the ball, and rotational power is much stronger than the weight transfer. So that's the main reason why the pros use the open stance forehand so much, because it gives them more power. But open stance has certain disadvantages. For example, when I'm dealing with short balls and I'm forcing open stance on a short ball, I'm moving like this because I'm supposed to play open stance, you can see that I cannot get good weight transfer in the ball, and I'm losing balance a little bit because I'm moving forward, but if I lean forward, I will lose balance. So open stance forehand is really bad for moving forward, for dealing with short balls. It's much more comfortable for the body just to step in the ball, and that's how I can maintain my balance. So here's another reason why open stance forehand is not good on short balls. If, for example, I get a short ball and I step in with this foot, I'll try again. I step in with this foot, so I'm somehow maintaining my balance, but because I've put forward this foot, I cannot rotate my hip anymore. So my body has just very little rotation. If, for example, I step in with my left foot, you can see that I can now rotate this hip, I can use my body rotation, and that's how I generate much more power. I'm much more in control. Here I'm a little bit awkward, I'm not in a good position, I'm like this, but in this position I'm very comfortable, and I can even pull my back leg in, and I can transfer weight really well into the ball. And if I want to, I can follow the ball to the net much more comfortably than this. So if I were to be a little bit more inside the court, then hitting like this and coming to the net is a little bit awkward, but hitting the ball like this and coming to the net is really comfortable. What about neutral stance or stepping in? Neutral stance will give you a lot of problems if you're trying to handle really fast balls, for example. So if I'm receiving a fast ball and I'm stepping in and the ball is bouncing here, that means I'm hitting the ball almost on a half volley. If I would have stayed here, so let me get one more. If I would have stayed here, then now I'm hitting the ball here and I have a little bit more time to time the ball and to see the ball. So that's why it's much more comfortable, much more efficient if I play it with open stance. So again, if I'm stepping in, I'm shortening the distance, I have less time, I don't see the ball so well. Another situation where hitting with close stance or neutral stance is difficult is receiving a high ball. So if I get a high ball and I try and hit a high ball, I feel a little bit jammed usually. So it's much easier to stay open and allow your body to rotate, because when we're handling high balls, we want to swing a little bit more across the ball than through the ball. As you can see, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So I'll try one more. I'm hitting a high ball, I feel slightly uncomfortable. So no need to force yourself to play high balls with stepping in. And then another situation when using a neutral stance or stepping in is not that beneficial, or it might even hurt you, is when you have to move to the side. So if I'm receiving a ball to the side and I'm forcing myself to step into the ball, to come forward with my left foot, the momentum will take me over and I have to catch myself with the right foot to recover. So I'm losing a little bit of the space. If I were to play just open stance, I would hit here, rotate on my foot and come back. But again, if I'm receiving the ball like this and I force myself to step in, I will lose space. So in terms of comfort, I'm quite comfortable. I can hit neutral stance when I'm moving to the side, but I know that I'm losing position. So that's when it's not really useful to use a neutral stance forehand. One of the situations where I like to step in the ball is when I'm warming up. Either when I'm about to start a lesson or if I'm about to start the match. I like to warm up by stepping into the ball because I feel really good weight transfer, which relieves my arm of work. So it just gives me really good rhythm for the forehand. So when I'm warming up, I try and step in a little bit more. But stepping in the ball is really useful when you're receiving a short ball, as I showed before. So again, if I'm here and I'm receiving a short ball, then stepping in or neutral stance is really comfortable. I get good weight transfer, I get body rotation, so no need to force the so-called modern open stance forehand. You just have to use what is more comfortable. Now that you have seen me use different stances in different situations, and you're more clear on pros and cons of each stance, should you think about stances when you play? No, not at all. You should just look for comfort. When I play, I have no idea which stance I'm going to use, but I try to feel what feels more comfortable. Maybe at the beginning you will not be comfortable in a certain position, but as you become aware of it, you will realize that it's not the best stance to use. For example, if I have a short ball and I'm stepping forward with my right foot and I hit the ball, I can feel that that's not really comfortable. And if the next time I step with my left foot, I can feel that it's much more comfortable and that it allows my body to uncoil in the shot much better, and that I'm more efficient with that shot then I will remember. But it's not so much for you to remember, it will actually, your mind will be the one that will remember. It'll be your subconscious. So all you need to do is you need to look for comfort and efficiency, and possibly having enough time, because sometimes it's all about time. If you're receiving a fast ball, then to me it's all about time. If I stay open, I will have a lot of time. If I'm stepping into the ball, I will have less time. So in both situations, I'm pretty comfortable, but in one I have much less time than in the other. So this is the criteria. You try to feel if you're comfortable, you try and realize whether you have enough time or not, and then a proper stance will just happen.